Hi crafters, it's Karen and I have a process video for you. I used the Prima water-soluble oil pastels that were gifted to me by April Ann. Thank you so much, April. I loved playing with these, and I used the bloom stamps called Birds, which are also so cute. So what I did was I stamped the birds onto this watercolor paper first using my Ranger archival ink, and I just started coloring in my birds. A little of these oil pastels, what I think they're like watercolor crayons, a little bit goes a long way. So I used this particular water pen brush. I think that's the Sukaniko one, I'm not sure. And I also used my Tim Holtz broad tipped water brush also for some of this. So I'm going to leave a link in the description box of the product number of the Prima watercolor crayons, and also the stamp set that I used. This stamp set is adorable, and it's from Jody Doherty, and it's one of the bloom stamps. So I'll leave the item number in the description box if you want to look this one up, because coloring these birds was a lot of fun. As you can see, I'm not having to be overly careful because I'm going to fussy cut these flowers and birds out. So I didn't worry so much about staying in the lines, And I colored these as if they were cherries. I'm not sure if that's what they were supposed to be. I'm pretty sure though. So I used the red color for these little cherries. And I colored that first little bird as if it were like a robin. So this was a lot of fun, very relaxing to color these out. And before adding too much color, I did dry them in between, when the stamp, or when the image became too wet, I did use my heat tool to dry it out. I didn't want to dab the water off with my paper towel too much because that was taking up a lot of the color. And the watercolor paper that I am using, it's not like a high quality watercolor paper. It's a pad I believe I picked up at Michael's. It's a Canson pad, but it's one of the cheaper priced watercolor papers. So what I did was I took that cardboard there, which is going to be my tags. I took an 8x8 piece of cardboard and just cut it in half. I used my corner chomper tools to cut the top corners out in like a scalloped fashion, and I did punch holes in it for a tag. I peeled up some of the paper to show that corrugated look, which I really love from the cardboard. As you saw, I'm using the Garden Fable paper collection from Prima, which was, I believe that's from last year, but I don't really use the paper. I just fussy cut some of the images out. As you saw, I fussy cut some of the birdhouses and birds' nests out, and that's what I end up using. And I'm just creating my background. First I'm going over my cardboard tags with my gesso from Deco Art, and I'm doing a couple of coats because I know I'm going to be using modeling paste. I know I'm going to be using a lot of the watercolor, and I just wanted to make sure that my surface would take the mediums that I was going to be using. So I'm going to dry it with my heat tool before I continue on, so that I'm using a dry surface. Now I get to play with the crayons, water crayons, and look at all those colors. There's a 24-piece set, and they're awesome. For one of the tags, it's going to be a bluish with yellows and teals color, and the other tag will have more pinks and oranges and yellows with it. So this one is the blue tag, and I'm going to be using a darker color in the center there. And see, I'm using my Tim Holtz water pen, and I think I put the plunger in wrong because it's hard for me to squeeze the water out. It shouldn't be this hard. I may have put it back together after I filled it, you know. I may have put it back together wrong or something, but you know that muscle that you have on your thumb, well, I was born without that muscle, so it's hard for me to squeeze something like that. So I was having an extra hard time with it. You could see me kind of fussing with it a little bit. So with this particular tag, I'm going with some of my violets and pinks and oranges, and in the end, and I'm with the green down below, and in the end, it just comes out to be a really soft, pretty color. They both are. Both of the tags, the color comes out so vibrant yet soft. It's just so pretty. You'll see. And mind you, I'm not like any kind of a watercolor artist or anything. Just putting the color on here and playing with it is enough for it to be beautiful. You see? So on the blue tag, I did the bottom portion with a little bit of yellows, and the other one is a little bit of the citron greens. I sprayed more water on the tag, and I'm wiping it with my baby wipe, and I know it's removing some of the color, but I wanted the color to be softer. I didn't want it to be so bright. I wanted some, you know, more white showing through, more pastel. So I'm putting away my crayons, trying to keep a neat surface. And here I'm just trying to decide which stencil I'm going to use. That first one was a brick stencil by Crafter's Workshop, I think it is, but the bricks were too large for these smaller tags. So I'm using this other stencil. It's like I think it's cobblestone. I'm looking to see the name of it. I don't see the name of it, but it looks like a cobblestone, and it works perfectly. There's it's like graduated cobblestone, so I'm using the smaller holes, or whatever, the smaller part of the stencil. So I'm going to stencil all around my edges, and it just gives a really cool look to my tags. And I'm just using Liquitex modeling paste. You see that texture? It came out really cute. I'm going to do the same thing with this blue tag. And I'm just using one of the plastic type palette knives to apply my modeling paste. Just a thin layer, more or less. Enough to add some sweet dimension and texture to the tag. Already there's a lot of texture because I left that corrugated part open there on both of the tags. Sorry, that little dinging is my iCloud storage alarm, and I don't know how to keep it from doing that. So now I want to add a little more color, and I want the color to go in between my modeling paste, through the cracks and crevices of the modeling paste. So I took some more of the pink color of my water crayon, and I just colored the top of this one with that deep turquoise color. I don't have the colors in front of me, and I'm just spraying them with water and letting them drip so that, you know, that color runs in between the cracks and crevices of my modeling paste, and that it really starts to show up that cobblestone stencil work really nicely. It really came out sweet. And I could have gone over it with my watercolor brush on the top there to, you know, work out some more of that dark color that's left at the top of the tag, but I didn't, because I knew I was going to edge, you know, do some work around the edges of the tag itself with some gold paint. You'll see. So I love the way that that's looking. And now I'm taking some gesso. I dried the surface of my tags, and I'm taking some gesso, and I took way too much gesso, and I'm adding water and then adding more water because I used too much gesso. And my point is, I wanted to do this little splattering effect to give the white splatters randomly across my tags. It just gives it a real sweet look. I love that look. And it's medium-size watercolor brush, so my splatters are medium-size splatters. So now I'm drying that between every layer. I make sure to dry my tag with my heat tool before adding my next step. And this keeps my tag from getting all mucky and muddy. So this is that acrylic Liquitex heavy body iridescent rich gold color, and it's gorgeous. This is the paint that I won from Tim Coffey through a giveaway that he had, and he had sent this to me. I love this color. So because it is a heavy body paint, acrylic paint, I can use that pouncing brush and just pounce it and dab it around the edges. It's not too fluid where it's going to seep and run. It's just going to pounce where you pounce it and stay. And it just gives such a nice edge around the tags. And it keeps that shimmering color. Really super sweet. Now I'm taking my black acrylic paint. You could also use black gesso, but this is what I had within reach. And I watered it down a bit so that I can do this, make some black splatters. Because the Garden Fable things that I cut out of the paper, the birdhouse and everything, they look kind of sketchy. So they do have a lot of black accents within them. So as well as do my stamps. So I thought the black splatters would really highlight some of that. So now I had taken a picture of how I wanted to place my stamps on top of my tag with my phone. So that's what I'm doing. I'm placing them out. I'm going to add some dimensional dots to this really gorgeous bird that's in flight, like it's coming down to land. So I'm putting dimensional pop dots on him, and that the other image there is an image of like a teacup with like vines and everything, and then all around it, and then inside the cup is this bird's nest. It's really sweet, these sketches. And then there's flowers surrounding it. So I thought they were really sweet to add. That bottom image there is a birdhouse. Now I'm going to try to adhere these images to my tag using matte medium from Deco Art. But I should have known, because I used all of that modeling paste, and there's a lot of dimension there, that it really wouldn't take very well because there's too much dimension. The surface isn't even. So I'm going to end up putting chipboard behind all of my images, all of my birdhouses and that teacup, and put pop dots behind all of my birds so that it will adhere better, and I adhere them to the tag with my hot glue gun, and then everything adheres so much nicer to the tag, and also adds a lot of dimension and shadows as well. I do end up going around both tags with my Tim Holtz Distress Ink Black Soot, just slightly around each tag and around all of the things that I fussy cut to get rid of those white edges, and also around my stamps after I fussy cut them out so that you wouldn't see those white edges either. So now I have to fit each of my birds with some dimensional tape, and you're going to see me fuss with this tape. I am so awkward when it comes to stuff like this. Watch. It's just, yeah, I'm really awkward when it comes to stuff like this. But I get the job done. So yes, I'm still going to go over my images and the tag itself with the matte medium, because I do want to seal those images that I did watercolor, and I want to seal the tag as well that I watercolored and added that modeling paste to, because I didn't want any of those colors to run. Now I want to place one of these flowers in the bird's feet, as if he's bringing down that bud to another bird that I'm going to have waiting for him. It comes out so cute, so I add a little bit of my Scotch Quick Dry, and there you go. And then put a pop dot underneath the rest of the flower. Now I'm working on my blue tag, and as you can see, I'm adding hot glue to the back of my images, and I added chipboard to the back of those images, as I said, so that they could adhere nicely on top of the modeling paste and the dimension of this stencil work. And I'm still going to seal it. I'm using the matte medium by Deco Art, and it makes that paper a little stronger, even though I didn't, go over it with any paint or anything like that. I'm still sealing that paper. And you're going to see me. I know some people hate it when you include this part in the videos, but I'm not, I don't edit a lot of my videos, so. I'm also adding hot glue to my dimensionals, because I don't trust that those pop dots will adhere to the gel medium, or all the dimension that I have. So I'm figuring out where's the best place to place this little bird. He's so cute. I'm going to put some cherries in his claw as he's sitting there on top of the birdhouse. And using the hot glue does add a little bit more dimension to these pieces, so it just comes out really sweet. And here this bird is going to be holding a blossom as well. I love that little bird on the bottom. It has such a sweet look on her face. See, I'm adding my gel medium to all my birds. I use my white gel pen to accent all my birds and my tag as well, to highlight the birds in different places, like their eyes and such. And I do a separate video to share these tags more up close so that you can see the detail, and I'll post that video as well. Now I'm choosing from my flowers. These are the new flowers from Recollections, and they're beautiful, and I'm going to add some of these flowers onto my tags along with some of this string to add a little a little shabby light touch. And it's not really a bow, but once I put a flower there, it kind of looks like there's a flower on the bow. So I'm not going to go bananas with a lot of flowers, but I do accent the different areas of the tag with flowers. And these tags, if I didn't mention it before, are 4 by 8, so they're a good size. And because I went over it with a couple of coats of gesso before doing the watercolor work and everything, these tags didn't warp or anything. They just lay nice and flat. So now I'm going to use the pink toned flowers on my pink toned tag, and I was careful to add the bluebirds onto the pink tag so that they wouldn't, you know, melt into the background of that other bluish tag, you know. I also added eyelets to each tag, if you could see that there. I added a pink colored eyelet for the pink tag and a bluish one for the blue tag, so that when I go to put seam binding or lace through, it would give it a more finished look. And now I'm adding some tangled thread in the bottom left of this tag near the birdhouse. And I'm not too careful, just bunching it up so that some hangs out from underneath that flower. Really sweet. And I'm going to use sentiments from Cosmo Cricket Tiny Text on my tags as well. I don't think I do that on the video, but I think one of them says cherish every moment on the pink tag, and the blue tag will say embrace each and every moment. So here I'm going to add my seam binding. And thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I know this was a long video, but I wanted to share all the different steps. Make sure to watch the video that I'm going to post. That'll give you a closer look at my tags so that you can see the details of the birds and how I used my white gel pen and all the stencil work. So thanks so much for watching. I appreciate it. The information's in the description box of where you can, the item numbers of these supplies. Thank you. Bye-bye.